And are we? Oh, Cindy Lauper's going on the final tour. If everyone can hear me. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's wait for the theme song. Whatever it is. That kind of thing there. Glad everybody's here. Oh, wait, did I send out the tweet? Did I send out the tweet? No, I didn't. I can get rid of that. And now, are we done? We are. It is done. Hello. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. It's nice to see you guys again on a Wednesday. I want to say hello to, I hear the ominous music. I want to say hello to, let's go down the list. Ramsey the Artist, Black Saxon Winkle, Jordan Salafalo, Sidram, Panavision, Javier Portello, Cornbread, Ramsey the Artist, Ace the Windrider, Natbox 64, Zix the Pest, hello. Song name, it's like a MIDI remix of an Aqua Teen thing, and I cut out some things. It's like just the drums, and I added something. So it's sort of a thing like, and I meant for something else. It's sort of a throwaway. Anyway, Super Adusky, Wandon, Natty, Purple Goop, who's been putting out some real cool art lately, Nathaniel Foga, Gary's here, Zodberg, Cornbread, Not Plausible, I don't know if I got everyone, Black Sox Swiggle, Hey Jim, Trip Back Home, Went Well, Paul Blart, Gum, what? Okay, first off, that is a reason, in my mind, to, wait, where are we? Okay, to switch and show, oh, damn it, hey, how's it going? Alright, so this was guessed by Cornbread, but it wasn't especially a, hello, Caden Hansey. Caden Hansey? I hope I'm saying that right. This is the, I've gotten this Swedish fish one before. I was just like, it's been a weird week, and I just want one that's like, I like, that was kind of, and again, I don't love ghosts, it's just convenient. I need to get different ones, but that's the deal. Here, let's whoa, smell that. Okay. I don't know, it was just the mood I was in. Yes, hello. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. Thank you, Black Sax Michael, for the first super chat of the night. Oh, I should like that. You didn't guess that one? Wait, what? Wait, hold up. My whole world has been destroyed. Just like the grilled cheese from last week. Wait, what? No, that was you. Oh my gosh. Oh, because it was zoomed in. I see what happened. Oh my god. You know what? In my head, you guessed it right. So you win. Cornbread and I are not. Usually it's like, yeah, I feel like the Discord image and this, it's like we're all over the place today. I think that's funny. Anyway, in my head, Cornbread, you had won until you just said that. So, oh my god, that's funny. Okay, and for Gary, I do want a washing machine shirt. I actually re-listened to. Oh, thank you, Sinram. Yes, everyone give the stream a thumbs up. I do want a washing machine shirt. I got one from like a shitty site and it didn't work out, but I might actually ask for that for my birthday or something. But I re-listened to it because of Under the Bridge played a song from Washing Machine, and I was like, Washing Machine is, I don't know, I think that's up there with Daydream Nation. I have gotten more into Daydream Nation. I was never as into it, but I also like Goo. I also like Dirty. I like Sonic Nurse. I like a lot of them, but I'm with you on. I'm also going to say Washing Machine was the album that got me into Sonic Youth, and I still think it's cool. Partly because when I used to hang out more at the library in Towson, Maryland, there was this cool kid who wore a Washing Machine shirt, and I don't even know his name, but he looked cool. So I did learn recently they wanted to change the band's name to Washing Machine just for that album. and they wouldn't let him do it, and that would have been cool. Anyway, yeah, it's been I don't know, stressful week, but I'm feeling better now. I have some days off and stuff. I'm excited about that. But hey Ryan, how's it going? But I'm feeling a little better, and finally got that X-Men season 2 video out. That had been like dragging me fucking down. I'm gonna be real honest. It was like every time something would happen, and so anyway, I'm glad. I'm glad it's up. But the X-Men stuff, I think it's gonna be an X-Men 97 review, and then it's sort of it until then season 2 comes out, which I think they said it's gonna be a while. So when that happens, I'll do season 3 and 4, and probably do other stuff as well. Hello, pup. How's it going? Trying to think what else. If I don't know, been a little crazy, so I'm a little like, bleh. It was fun going re-watching X-Men 97. I didn't watch all of it, but certain, and you actually realize how smart some of the decisions were in sort of structuring. Anyway, when I make that video, but the next video will be there's going to be a short music thing that I'm going to schedule, probably be around 4:30 tomorrow. But the other one, 4:30, will be Furiosa. I'm hoping Furiosa will be out tomorrow, and then California Love, and then X-Men, I think, something like that. I also realized while I was like doing something today, I saw a meme from the Day Job show, and I realized I never made that segment into a video, and I totally forgot. So embarrassing. So right now I know it's Was Up, Day Job, and there's another one. I guess California Love. It's like Was Up, Day Job, and California. Oh, and Club Sandwich, and those are like the ones I need to work on. But it's like yeah, I totally forgot about that. So if there's one I didn't mention in there that hasn't become a video, let me know, because I might have just forgotten because of life and stuff. Are you going to make more 90s superhero shows? I don't know. Probably not, because they're not super popular. But I am enjoying My Adventures with Superman. I'll probably do a short thing of that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Or Austin, I don't know why I did that. Sorry. Austin said, vote for Tom Thumb in the movie review. Vote Tom Sweet. Okay. All right. I wonder who picked that one, Austin. Wow. Okay. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, Austin. Oh, that's funny. Cornbread, what are your 2 suggestions? I know one of them is Club Sandwich. I'm curious what the other one is. But that's funny. Anyway, also vote for the movie review vote. That did come out. I kind of stopped working on season 2 because I was like, I gotta get this review vote out and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of anything, but cheers to you, Austin. Funny that would have happened or something. Since last time, I can't think of it now, unfortunately. Just working on stuff, living life, trying to do your best, stuff like that. You were Day. Okay, I thought it was Day Job. I was just checking. I'm trying to think anything else. Okay. So it's funny. This is sort of a dumb anecdote, but I'll tell it anyway. So I've noticed like there's that video game, the multiverse thing, and I keep seeing these connections between Jason and Steven Universe, and I find that to be, I don't know, it's very bizarre for me. Because I don't know why the connection, I guess people think it's weird, but like I might be the one person who I was like, hey, do you guys want to watch Friday the 13th? And I honestly think Ian and Rebecca were like, no, we're going to go to bed. Which I was like, okay, cool. And I was like remembering that because I keep seeing people make memes about it, but it's like a really stupid memory. But I get reminded of it, and I was like, I guess I'm the only one who has a dumb memory like that. But at the same point, I'm also like, why is this such a big deal for people? That I don't understand. I don't remember them being into Friday the 13th. At least that, I don't know. People can change. But yeah, that's kind of the only. every like day, I'm reminded. I'm like, okay, here we go again. All right, let's. I don't know. That was probably not worth repeating. Okay, where are we? Who are you people? Okay. Did Paramount get Fox? No. We'll get into the Paramount stuff. The Paramount stuff, the Lasseter thing is a real thing. There's sort of a question mark with him. It's not. Anyway, we'll get into it. It's not just a clickbait thing. I hope no one's seeing that. There is a real question about thing. I mean, I get the thing that Jason is. It's funny that Jason said it. I just like don't get why people share it so much. That's the real question for me. All right, so other things that happen. Before we get into throwbacks, I am going to be doing. I know everyone on YouTube is trying to do these like compilation videos where they're like, "Here's all my videos on this subject," and it's like 4 hours long and stuff. I don't think I would ever necessarily do that. I feel like you guys probably aren't interested, and I do have a fairly organized playlist. So if you want to fall asleep to a particular kind of review, I think I have a playlist for it. Most likely, I might be wrong about that. If I don't, let me know. But I will be doing that. With some of the shorts, I don't know how often. As of hey, Chan Talks Movies, probably the only one I can think of is George Miller. Partly because I have a few that weren't like super as well known, and I don't think they would have worked well as their own short. So it's kind of a way to you get some new content with the old content, and also shorts AdSense wise do not get like a ton of money AdSense wise. So it's just an easy thing, and you get some more stuff and all that stuff. I think that will probably happen next week, but just to let you know, I don't have many plans for others, but it does help because sometimes when I shoot the, almost directed or was almost in things, I have like a few more sentences. I feel like you did actually. Okay. A few more sentences for certain things that have to be cut so it can be a YouTube short or a TikTok or something. And I don't want to make several different edits for short, like I just make one for all of them. I'm not making one for Instagram, one for TikTok. It just goes in all of them. So the George Miller one was not shot knowing I was do that. So you might see several different versions of these kind of compilations. I don't know how many I'll do. I'll probably do ones like I plan other versions of it. Like I plan to do a WandaVision review compilation for Agatha. Same with Captain America 4 will have Falcon and Winter Soldier compilation, things like that. But I hope nobody feels like you're getting ripped off or anything like that. It's just, but for the George Miller one, I was like, these two are like, if I gave it as a Patreon exclusive, people are going to be like, that's fucking lame. It's just its own thing. But with everything else, I thought it worked. So they'll sort of be the pilot of these. I don't know how many more there'll be. And Godzilla Around will be a short this weekend. I think I said that was going to happen. I never did it. I was like, why did that not happen for Godzilla Kong? I have no clue why. I just think I forgot. So since people are talking about Godzilla again, and there's no Godzilla movie in production, really, I know Godzilla Kong is 3 is a few years away. I figured I just want to get that done because I want to do that. So anyway, that's I wanted to bring that up. Anyway, just so you're aware of those things. I don't love re-releasing stuff because they feel a little cheap, but at the same point, some of these things I make compilations of don't get viewed otherwise, so it's just a new attention. Anyway, I hope you don't hate me for that. If you do are like, these suck, just actually tell me. Don't just go like, why is he doing this, and click off. Just let me know. Say, hey, fuck this. So for throwbacks, I had Star Trek 3, which is the middle of, I think, probably one of my favorite 80s sci-fi trilogies. I don't think the Star Trek trilogy of 2, Wrath of Khan, 3, Search for Spock, and 4, Voyage Home gets as much attention. I watched that trilogy a lot as a kid, and it should, because it's a really cool trilogy. But what happened with my Star Trek series is originally when the first one came out, I reviewed when I think the second one came out, I eventually reviewed the motion picture Wrath of Khan, and I did Search for Spock with Beyond. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll get to do 4 because they'll make a 4th one. Yeah, St. Powers, you have my permission to write that. When they make a 4th one, I'll do Voyage Home. And I wanted to do Voyage Home because I actually saw that in the theater. That was like the first Star Trek movie. I didn't see them all in theaters, but certain ones I did. We saw them on a family, and that has a funny story about my sister peeing on my dad, which I'll never get to tell in a video unless they make another Star Trek movie in theaters. So if they ever do, get hyped. Yeah, every time you hear development, be like, but Jim's going to make that his sister peeing on his dad video. It's going to be hilarious. That's not a joke. That is like, I'm actually kind of disappointed. I was like, when I was posting the Star Trek 3 thing, I was like, when I made this, I really thought that Star Trek 3 thing, the Star Trek 4 video is going to happen. And I was like, I should do it now. I'm like, no, wait, man. There's going to make so many Chris Pine Star Treks. Anyway, it's a funny story. And we'll never know. We'll never know. Thank you, Cornbread. Thank you for the nice words. Anyway, it will never happen. The other one is Coherence, which I will be talking about the sequel. I was going to have that be a throwback later, but I thought, let's have it now because people are talking about that movie more. It is, I think, both one of the best science fiction movies of the past decade and I think one of the best movies of the 2010s as well. So if you haven't seen Coherence, I highly recommend it. That review will be out Friday. Anyway, let's get into some shit. Oh, you did small, but okay, Ace the Windrider. Post a link in something. Let me know. Send it to me, and I will whatever it is on repost, retweet, whichever. I will do that. All right. So this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through awesome super chats during the show, and I will drink this amazing Swedish fish drink here. Get myself some energy. Sorry. Or through my Patreon, where you get all sorts of exclusive stuff, like the postcards. You get more power in the movie review vote. You get my commentary series, which I will have a Knockforce commentary coming soon, as well as the DVD giveaway, which the first winners, those will be mailed out, I think, like tomorrow or Friday or something. And then, or at least I'm going to organize it tomorrow. And there will be a few of those this summer. You get emails when the stuff goes up. You get all sorts of cool stuff, and it helps me make the show, make this stuff, which helps me make flyers, stickers, film festivals, pay my bills, keep my kids fed, all these wonderful things. So thank you very much. If you're financially able to do so. If not, just liking this video or subscribing definitely helps out the channel. But if you're just watching and you don't even have an account, you just watch this randomly, thank you for being here. I honestly really appreciate it. Oh, also, we did hit I'm very tempted. I did keep the Dark City DVD, and now I want to give one away to fuck with Gary. I would be in Failing Upwards as a guy with Dark City DVDs. I don't think that's in one of your scripts, but if it ever is, if you give that to anyone else, oh boy, I would be so upset. Also, I want to say there will be a 15,000 subscriber stream that will be on July 6th. There won't be a stream that Wednesday because I live in Brooklyn, and anytime around 4th of July, there's just a lot of fireworks. So we're not going to do that. So July 6th, that Saturday, there'll be a Saturday stream. I think it will be earlier. I'll figure all that out later, but I believe we're going to do it that night, and that can be the 15,000 subscriber stream. So if you want to keep that going, hey, William Ellman, subscribe. Don't unsubscribe. Wait till after, so I'm not embarrassed during the stream. I can be embarrassed the night after. That's fine. Just keep subscribed till then. You can unsubscribe after the stream's over, so I don't look stupid. But don't. I would like you not to do that, but I'm just saying it would be funny. All right. Also, you should join the Discord, which is a link in the description down below. It has also a really cool community. Everyone here in the chat is hanging out there. There's all sorts of cool stuff like the licensed playing card channel, which I have my Spirited Away cards again, just because I think the Back to the Future cards are gone. I'm not sure where they went. I should probably just get rid of them. As well as they do movie watches every weekend, as well as there's the Ask Jim channel where I answer questions, which I think that is up to date. There's general, where I ask them stuff like, what do you want me to talk about in movie crap tonight? And you guys tell me, and I listen to a majority of them, and all sorts of stuff from movie discussion, video game discussion, music discussion, artist promo, everything like that. It's a great community. It's the Discord I am the most active in, and Zane Powers and Austin do an amazing job running it as well. So please join. I think you'll really like it. As well as I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr. All of those links are in the description down below. All right. So first up, I did mention this on Twitter, but I know not everyone follows me on that. I'm not going to act like you all read all of them like it's the gospel or something. But so Matthew Vaughn did this thing where he was upset that people reviewed Argyle so harshly. I, in all fairness, have not seen Argyle. The clips I've seen do not make me want to see Argyle, basically. And he said it's not fair. It's not like Citizen Kane or something. And my kind of retort and my thing, or like they were so harsh and it's not Citizen Kane, all that stuff. My thing about that is I'm kind of using some old film logic here. Is that like everyone always says that when they're like, hey, my movie's not Citizen Kane. The critics were way too harsh. But that logic actually doesn't work, because when Citizen Kane was released, William Randolph Hearst, who, you know, Citizen Kane is sort of based on, you can read up on all that, made critics pan Citizen Kane. So if you were to say your movie is not Citizen Kane, the fact that what you were actually saying, if you're using Citizen Kane as in critics like Citizen Kane, like when it was released, which isn't true, you're saying that like they had to pay people to not like Citizen Kane, but for your movie they didn't. Your movie just fucking stinks, which I think is actually really funny. Like if you think about it, that comparison doesn't work. It means like genuinely your movie sucks, and before they had to pay someone and make a smear campaign to stop the greatest movie of all time, which is I think funnier. Actually, it makes your movie worse if you really think about it under that logic. Anyway, I'm not going to see Argyle. I think Matthew Vaughn went too far. I mean, I think the other thing with that whole movie is like they tried to do a book, they tried to pretend Taylor Swift wrote it, they tried to do all this stuff, and it like definitely failed. But I think the other thing with what? I don't know. Anyway, what did Dylan Butler say? Okay, well, thank you for being here, Dylan Butler. I just think it's funny how badly he's like taking this is ridiculous, but I also think like he fell off so hard, and it's so interesting that Kingsman was about like wealth disparity ultimately, and like how the rich will destroy us all and don't care about that stuff. And like it feels like he like doesn't have anything else to say, and also potentially became the evil people in Kingsman. And it's like it feels like he has nothing else to say, but he's just like collecting box office checks. It's like kind of pathetic. I don't know. I kind of think it stinks. So, one, I'm gonna do newer news at the beginning, I guess, is Bong Joon-ho. It came out today, and it seems to be World of Real, I believe, reported it, and other less reputable people tweeted it, so people thought it might be real. But it sounds like it is, that Bong Joon-ho's film Mickey 17, I believe. Zane Power says, so who then is trying to make a modern Citizen Kane? I guess probably Kevin James. No, I guess probably, I don't know. I don't know if there could ever be a movie like that. I mean, it took a while to build up to that, so I think it would have to be a movie that at first was maligned and then came up through the ranks, which I think there are occasionally movies that do that. Look at, I guess the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Jennifer's Body. So maybe Jennifer's Body is our modern Citizen Kane, where it got like, you know, got some nice attention at the time, but basically got derailed, and now it's like considered a classic. So Jennifer's Body, I guess, which I haven't actually watched. But anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. So with Bong Joon-ho's new film, there's been all these sort of delays, and the rumor is because, you know, there was rumors that they wanted to go to Cannes and that didn't work out because obviously Bong Joon-ho is the second person and the only first non-American director to win Palme d'Or and Best Picture. And he wanted to premiere it there. They didn't. Supposedly there's a debate over Warner's doesn't want to give him final cut, and they want a more accessible cut. I don't really understand this, because why would you hire Bong Joon-ho to direct a movie and not give him like final cut? I don't really get like what the point is. Like, I understand you gave him a lot of money, but like, you're the one. I don't know. I feel like with Warner Brothers is they make these decisions and then they see the movie and they're like, oh, that's what we spent money on. And you're like, all these movies seem pretty clear. Like, you know what Bong Joon-ho is going to do. He's going to be his weird ass self. You know what live action courtroom, a live action animation hybrid courtroom drama is going to be. Like, it to me, it's like some of these, it's like, do you guys like think about this stuff before? It just feels like Chris Pratt is in Jennifer's Body. I didn't know that, actually. It feels like they don't really think of what they're doing, and they're like, oh shit, what do we do? But like, what I don't get about the Bong Joon-ho thing with Warner Brothers is, okay, you don't think it's going to make any money. You know, fine. I get that. But like, why not release it during Oscar season? Like, that's the part I don't get. Especially like, this isn't like a hugely competitive Christmas. Like, why wouldn't you just put it out then? And, you know, if it doesn't get any nominations, like putting it out in January to like just bury it in Christmas. Like, why bury it in January and like fail? Like, what if you get a few nominations for your studio? Because people do go, how many nominations did you get during your reign and stuff? Like, you can just add a couple numbers to that just by like doing like the bare minimum. Just open it in 2 theaters or something like that. I don't really get like why. I don't know. I think sometimes like a lot of these studios, like, but you sign a deal with a person who, like, it's not like what's that thing, Neil Young, when he made an electronic album, Trans and stuff. Like, if you hire someone and they make not what you expect them to, like, you could get upset and be like, that's not the deal we signed. Like, I wanted this and stuff like that. Like, I'd be maybe a little more sympathetic, but at the same time, it's like, you hired Bong Joon-ho and he made a weird movie. Like, what did you just see Parasite? Like, come on. Like, Snowpiercer? Like, doesn't your company make a show based on Snowpiercer? I don't really understand it. It's very odd, the whole, like, they got into this nonsense with. So, and now actually going into the thumbnail, the other 2 thumbnail things I think are longer things. So this is the only short thumbnail thing, is there's been talk that they're trying to develop a Gravity Falls reboot, and that they're talking to Alex Hirsch and all this stuff. I saw a much more enthusiastic reception to this. I'm more in the camp that you need a good take, basically. And like, if you're just saying reboot, my initial reaction is like, no, why would you? Because I still hear kids discovering, I still see backpacks and shirts of Star Wars First of Evil and Gravity Falls and all that stuff. So to me, it's like, I don't think it's as needs to be rebooted right now unless you have a really good take. Now, obviously, I think they would have one. I don't think they would just go just Gravity Falls. But my initial reaction, if someone's like, what do you think of Gravity Falls reboot? I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, Gravity Falls is a pretty great show, so why would you mess with that? Before we go to that, Sinram says, I would bet that Mickey 17 will get a limited release in December 1st and then go wide in January. Got to get that praise and nods. True. They haven't said that. They haven't said that in the reports. That's why I said it that way, Sinram. But I hope so. I hope Mickey 17 does. That would be really cool. I'm excited to see it. I don't know what it's about, but a weird sci-fi movie. I like Scavenger's Reign, so I'm more in the weird sci-fi guy. Anyway, cheers to you, Sinram. Cheers to you. What was I going to say? Yes, I just don't get the point of it. And like, if they're like, oh, we're going to show like a prequel, or we're going to show like something, but like just like an idea of doing a reboot, or I just don't really get the point of the whole thing. I think Gravity Falls is a pretty solid show. Like, you don't really need to mess with that. So, you know, obviously, like, you know, you had to did they re-record Justin Roiland in Gravity Falls? Because they re-recorded Louis C.K., so I wonder if they did. But I just don't think it's as like needs to be rebooted. Like that started and ended. What was it, like 11 years ago? Like that's yeah, it started 11 years ago. I just think, you know, I much rather see another thing from Alex Hirsch, which we haven't seen. I forget all. I feel like he hasn't done that much, but it's just like, why are we? What are we even doing? I don't know. I think the thing with Disney TV animation in the 2010s is that they let originality like happen, and presently they're not really doing that. I don't think as other than Moon Girl, like I haven't really seen that as much. So I think like if they want to do something, to me I would be like just give Alex Hirsch a new show, but they're not an auteur TV company, which stinks because I think with Wander Over Yonder and Gravity Falls and Star Wars Force of Evil, they kind of showed they could be, and then it turned out they just weren't, which is stupid. So this will be quick, but the podcast Dakota Ring did a thing on Captain Planet. I think it is. I would listen to it because I do subscribe to that podcast, and I saw Captain Planet was there. Of course, I listened to it. But he, yeah, it goes through the whole origin of it. It's cool. The big thing is finding out that Tom Cruise volunteered to be the voice of Captain Planet, recorded 6 episodes, and was like, "Oh, right, I'm Tom Cruise. I don't have the time to do a cartoon." But it's like, why? I wish he had. And also, they've never released this audio. So, like, release the Tom Cruise cut of Captain Planet. No disrespect to the voice actor of Captain Planet, but, like, I want to hear this. Like, that sounds amazing. Like if you want me to lip sync it, those 6 episodes, I'll do it. But I don't know. That's an insanely fun fact. They do not mention OKKO. They do not mention the Atlanta office that we all saw at MomoCon. Those are the only things I was disappointed by. I was like, oh man, are they going to interview him in this? And then they don't even mention it, which I was like, come on, you're going to mention the OKKO cameo? Like, that stinks. You got to mention it. I thought they were gonna, but they didn't. Anyway, it's worth a listen, but don't expect that part. You're gonna be disappointed. All right, so we got the Venom 3 trailer, Venom: The Last Dance. This looks plainly as stupid. Hello, Wes and Air. As you'd expect it to be. I think this franchise started off as like, this looks like a throwback to shittier superhero movies like Spawn or something, and it's quickly shown you that it just lives in its dumbassery. I don't actually know who's directing this one. The last one was Andy Serkis. I'm curious about it, but it's like all the symbiotes are coming to Earth, and then Venom needs to get somewhere, so the symbiote takes over a horse, which is wild to have a Venom horse. Venom, I do like that, like, back in the day, people took Venom so seriously, and it was, like, such a big thing for kids. And now they're just sort of, like, whatever dumb nonsense. And I do like it, because the Black Suit saga is, like, you know, big Spider-Man business and all this stuff. But, yeah, I still would like a good Black Suit Spider-Man movie, but I think if you're going to do that, Black Suit is one movie, Venom's another movie. You don't do that dumbass shit with the combined thing. Like, what the hell? Spectacular Spider-Man is by far my favorite adaptation of that whole deal. But yeah, just wacky stuff. I didn't see Michelle Williams. What's going on with that? But other than maybe that, you know what? I don't remember too much. Isn't Venom gay or something? Maybe. Why not? I forget the deal with that. But someone mentioned Topher Grace, and I hope he shows up again. That'd be cool. What's he doing? On a bad ABC show? Nobody's watching that. But yeah, I'm excited for Venom: The Last Dance. I think we're getting that this year. They had to move it from the election because obviously people would forget to vote if they did that, which would be dramatic. So, like, I'm glad they moved Venom for the sake of our democracy. It was moved because of the election. I hope the reason was that they were like, Venom will destroy everything. It's directed. Venom 3 is directed by Kelly Marcel. Her debut as a director, wrote scripts from the previous Venom movies and 50 Shades. That's not an endorsement, Sinram, but I. Sorry, not to be a jerk. Good for her. Hey, she made a Venom horse. How many? No other director ever has made a weird alien horse. No, that's not true. There was a cool horse in Vampire Hunter D. But was it a Venom horse? No. So that's a real question. What's better? Maybe the chat can decide. What's better, the robot horse, if I'm remembering this right, from Vampire Hunter D, or the Venom horse from the Venom trailer? That's everyone discuss that. Figure out how you want to do that. Lasseter says, I didn't say it was. If it came out then, if Venom okay, Zane, the super chat says, if Venom came out during the election, would RFK Jr. win? Probably. I love Zane Powers' randomness, weird questions. Cheers to you, sir. That he should be calling Venom for a cameo. Okay. So season 2. This is a quick thing. Season 2 of the Beavis and Butthead revival will premiere on Comedy Central on July 10th at 10 p.m. I'm assuming it'll be on Paramount Plus soon after that. I know they just had that big SNL thing, but I'm completely serious. The Beavis and Butthead reboot is legitimately very good. It was a lot of fun to watch. It is really good, like chill out, fun, like funny show. Right now, it's they bounce around between Beavis and Butthead, younger Beavis and Butthead being in current time, and older Beavis and Butthead being in our time, and it works really, really well. So I would, if you haven't checked it out, I would check out season 2. I'm excited for season 3. Venom Horse doing a J turn. Oh, I'm sure you also would just learn how to drive. All right, so Lindsay Ellis kind of came back to YouTube this week. She sort of didn't go away. I know she's made littler. Okay, I see what I did there. Okay, littler things, but this is her summing up her book because she has a new new book. Sorry, out. She's according to Ryan Wilson around my area then as well. She's doing a book signing. I actually thought it was kind of like the nicest, funnest video. Like, I'm not saying that in a shitty way, like she's always mean and shrill or something. But at the same point, I also think I hadn't watched the things that were like you get a bit of it and the rest of it's on Nebula things. But it did make me go like, oh hey, I remember like why I liked her and stuff. And I hadn't really watched her in a bit, but I thought it was a very likable video. Good for her. We're still writing books. I don't know if the ones after her whole thing sold as well. Like I just don't know. I have no clue. I couldn't actually figure that out. It seemed like all the things are like her first one was a bestseller and stuff, and I there's really no stat like the second one bombed or the second one was successful. It just seems like there was a second one. You're like, okay. But good for her for keep doing it. I thought it was a very likable video, and I wish her honestly the best. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Paramount merger and then get into John Lasseter because I should explain some things and why what John Lasseter has to do with this has yet to be determined. But the and Ryan and I talked about this is the role of, and Ryan was a big help for this part, so thank you, Ryan. But the role of what he's going to do in this potentially is very interesting, or we'll see. We actually don't know. But so Paramount, we've been talking about whether it be bought by Sony or there would be one less studio in Hollywood and stuff like that. That didn't happen, thankfully, which is not good for the industry. What happened is the production company Skydance, who's owned by sorry, I meant to have this up. Skydance, who's owned by David Ellison, who also does the Mission Possible things and does do a lot of stuff with Paramount, merged with Paramount recently. This is kind of the best case scenario because we're not losing a studio. It does sound like they don't know who's going to take up things. There's certain things that are odd, like Paramount has the idea of the office of the CEO, which does not mean there is a CEO. There's several people that could be a CEO. So there's a lot of like executive nonsense going on, which means Paramount is most likely going to go through the possibility of a lot of changes, but most people think David Ellison will take over the reins of this Paramount Skydance merger. But this is the best case scenario. Like the worst case scenario is there'd be one less Hollywood studio. The best case scenario is this, where it's just like it really doesn't matter that Skydance is there or not. There's a million production companies, so that sort of works out. It works out for them with the Mission Impossible stuff. It doesn't work out for them because Tom Cruise signed a deal with Warner Brothers because he was nervous about Paramount's future. But although he's still going to make Mission Impossible stuff. However, why I bring up John Lasseter, and I think it's important to bring up, and I think it is an issue, and I've noticed it's undercovered to be perfectly, like, it's not covered enough, not that I'm finding something undercover, is he currently runs Skydance Animation, which is a division of Skydance, which just merged with Paramount. Now, when Skydance hired John Lasseter, they did have a deal for their animation studio with Paramount, which they then lost because they hired John Lasseter. And then they signed deals with Apple, which they still have those deals in place. So my question really is, one, what happens to Skydance Animation? Do they just sell it off or get rid of it? Does it become its own thing, much like how DreamWorks Animation became its own thing or something? Or because every other studio that has an animation division in a major way, Sony, I'm not sure who runs that fully. That's probably the only one that has less of a mogul in charge. But like Disney has Pixar with Pete Docter, which we'll talk about later, and Jennifer Lee with Disney. Universal just has Chris Meledandri, who's probably the most powerful person in animation. And so I could see a couple of things. One, they just fire John Lasseter, which I don't think they'll do just because they got Brad Bird, they got Don Hall recently. They're getting all this creative talent clearly because of Lasseter. Like, you're not getting like all these directors because Skydance has like all the monies. Like, he's clearly building up something, and him being there is getting there. I think that's a thing. So the question is do you just let him do Skydance Animation? It's just a thing that's there through Paramount. You don't have him go in other things. Or do you let him control all of Paramount's theatrical animation? Or do you have him become all head of all of Paramount Animation, including Nickelodeon stuff? I think the head of that going that far would obviously cause controversy. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, look, we have the guy who made Pixar a hit machine, who ran the Pixar Brain Trust. Why are we not having him do Paramount Animation, which other than Ninja Turtles is not really taking off? I don't know what's fully going to happen here, but what they do with him is going to be incredibly interesting. But it was sold very much at the beginning that they didn't want to select who is going to go where when they announced this like stock option buyout thing. That's like, basically they're not buying out anybody, they're buying other stock and stuff, and it's confusing, and you should just honestly look into it, because I will explain it poorly. But they didn't say who of the Skydance people will be taking over Paramount things, who of Paramount will be, what will be merging and stuff. The specifics have not been worked out at all. So what's going to happen to Lasseter is a question that they have to answer, no matter if they give him Nickelodeon or not. But like, I also think like Lasseter should have retired. Like, he kept saying he was going to retire, and as soon as he got like canceled, he's like, well, no, I'm not going to retire. I'm like, what, did you owe money? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I like, that part has always been strange. But if he's going to continue doing it, I can see them looking at like, look, we're a big company. We have like one of the most influential, I'm not saying I like him or what he stands for, but he is one of the most influential animation executives of all time. We have him at our disposal. Why don't they do it? So I can see strategically, but I do think him running everything, specifically Nickelodeon, will be controversial. But it seems like these companies are caring less and less about cancel stuff. So I do think we could be living in a world where John Lasseter runs all this stuff, which would be insane. I think that would be crazy to kind of like fall ass backwards into running all the animation at a different studio when you said you were going to retire. Like that. Like, was he ever actually going to retire, or was his plan to do this all along? Not the canceled stuff and the weird Tinkerbell thing, but like this, like I don't know. I don't know. Zane Powers says, "How about John Lasseter as the head of Paramount?" I don't think. You know what? Before the controversy, I would think he would be someone like that, but I don't think that's going to happen now. But cheers to you, Zane Powers. I keep hitting like a marker that's there. I'm like, is it going to fall out? Okay. So, where were we? Okay. So Godzilla, let's talk about what's happening with Netflix and the two kind of drops, and we're having people talk about two things that are really cool, which is awesome actually. I've actually heard people talk about Scavenger's Reign and Godzilla Minus One in ways I did not hear them talk about them when I was watching those things 6 months ago, which is weird, but here we are. The Godzilla Minus One is cool because not only do we get a Netflix release, but we got an English dub. I actually want to watch. Look it up, Lasseter, or don't. It's your brain cells, I guess. I like that Godzilla Minus One because I wanted to watch it with my daughter. I'm not sure we will because she's like on the fence if it's too scary or not. But also, like, I should remind you, I have a learning disability. I went to a school of people with learning disabilities, and I tried to be snooty about subtitles, and a couple of my friends were like, dude, I don't have the reading comprehension to keep up with a subtitled movie. So there's a lot of people who just could not see Godzilla Minus One. Or even, like, I've been watching subtitled stuff since I was fairly young. There's people who are just not used to it. So I'm not as against dubs as most people because of that reason. Because I do have friends who like can't watch a subtitle; they just can't do it. I'm glad that's there, and I hope people enjoy it and stuff like that. Scavenger's Reign, it's cool having people watch a really weird sci-fi show. I love that show. I really hope it does seem to actually getting some traction. I'm hoping Netflix funds a season 2. I am a little like, it feels so self-contained in that one season. I'm like, I'm not like that upset, but I am also like, what would you do with another one is still interesting to me. But anyway, it's really cool that they're both like two of the better science fiction things in the last year are getting so much attention because they both felt so niche. And I was like, man, if only people would like give it a chance. And it does seem like the people who I thought, if they would break out of their own algorithmic box would like these things are doing it because of Netflix, which shows like kind of the power of that service really is that they, Max can't break Scavenger's Reign. And Godzilla Minus One also, they have a lot of Godzilla on Max. And obviously this is a lot bigger than if it had gone to Max. So I think they're doing their job amazingly well, and it's cool that it's happening like that. All right, so the Knives Out 3 cast keeps expanding to go over even more people. We have, Daniel Craig, sorry, I'm scrolling down, Josh O'Connor still, Kaylee Spaney, who was Priscilla Presley, Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, Jeremy Renner, Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, and wasn't there another person today? Anyway, that seems to be the cast for Knives Out 3. It keeps expanding. I still am like, it should have been the Muppets. I don't understand why it wasn't. That would have been, I think, a better option. I do kind of wish it was more weird people than what it is. Sorry, I'm setting something up for later. It's kind of like not very notably weird, which I find to be kind of distressing. I wish they get like some different kind of casting. Oh, Thomas Hayden Church, thank you, Thomas Hayden Church. I just wish they'd done. I don't know. It's like you have this opportunity. Why not cast some weird, interesting people? Why just cast like hot people? Like not just that they're attractive, but like people who can get work and stuff. I like kind of. I don't know. Thomas Hayden Church is actually a little more interesting, but everybody else, I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. To be honest, though, if it had been Paul Giamatti, I'd be happy with it. But it's all like, oh, I guess you couldn't because of the sideways, and that's all people would talk about. But it's even like I wouldn't mind Virginia Madsen, I wouldn't mind Michael Madsen, I wouldn't mind, so many different like interesting actors. Like give them a shot, and like, I don't know. It does feel like the thing with Knives Out though, they go like very star heavy, like well known people, and it's like I kind of would like better casting. But as long as they play off of each other well, who fucking cares? So I've heard people say there is a connection for all of them, and that's like what the movie's about and stuff. And I'm like, I haven't figured it out. I guess they were all in movies and they're all actors. I don't know. Oh my god, I missed that cornbread. But yes, John Waters would be great. All right, so this is very quick Marvel news. People, okay, the Secret Wars stuff. I was a kid. Here's my relationship with the original Secret Wars. Is when I was first getting into comics, I knew it was a big storyline. I knew it's where Spider-Man got his black suit. Because oh yes, Wes Snyder brings this up. Sorry, um, Jeremy Renner was name drop in the last Knives Out as having a hot sauce. So people speculated that Jeremy Renner is playing himself in Knives Out, which I think would be really funny and really good sense of humor on his part if that's true. But yeah, that's interesting that they name drop him and he's in this one. So yes, Joseph Gordon-Levitt also would have been cool. Like he was in Poker Face, the Ryan Johnson show, though. That's the closest reunion we've gotten. But anyway, so Secret Wars meant a lot to me as a kid because when we were first getting into comics, my dad and I knew it was this big storyline. I knew it had an action figure line, which I was in elementary school, so it meant a lot to me. I would flip through the dollar bins, and I actually found all of Secret Wars through the dollar bin. So, which was like my mission. I was really good at going through dollar bins. I think like most of our X-Men collection was from there. I would get like all sorts of rare stuff, and they're like, I don't know, the back cover's beat up. It's $1, and I'm like, fuck yeah, we get to read a comic. And so like I was very good at that. But that's all right. But Secret Wars is sort of like people are like, there's so many people in it. There's this thing, there's that. And I'm like, I don't. The thing with Secret Wars, and I think they mean the newer Secret Wars comics and stuff, is Secret Wars is kind of dumb. And like I don't know, it just feels like when people bring it up, they're not thinking about like how it's sort of a silly concept. I don't know if it's gonna have all these people or Robert Downey Jr. is gonna come back. I'm just like, I kind of want this whole like multiverse era to sort of end. So whatever. The rumor is that Sean Levy is the odds-on favorite. I'm guessing because he's a safe studio director, which shows you kind of as much as people are like Marvel's changed. I'm like, well, when they announced Joss Whedon, that was an interesting choice actually at the time. Sean Levy, like regardless of how you feel about Night of the Museum or not, is kind of a studio safe director. So I was a little disappointed in that. I think Sam Raimi would have been better, but whatever. And the other thing is, we know that Jordan Peele met with Marvel on a project. I'd assume they mean X-Men. I think that would probably be it. Maybe Blade because he's a horror director, but I kind of think that. So we'll see. Anyway, I want to pee really quick. This is a quick break here, and then I will come right back and talk about the Pixar thing. So I'm just going to mute my mic while I do that, and then we will be right back and we'll do the Pixar stuff. Sorry, I just kind of have to pee. All right, be right back. and congrats to you, Austin, for winning Mario Kart. Sorry I took a break. I was just like, I have to pee. And I knew there was more show to get through. All right. Let's talk about the Pixar thing. I did read the article, the whole Bloomberg article. You had to, like, register with their fucking site. That's, like, real obnoxious shit. I hate that crap where it's like, I can't just read the article. You have to, like, put it behind it. It's like, I don't think news organizations should legally be allowed to do that. I think they should just have a Patreon thing. I understand journalists need to get paid, but at a certain point, there's like an obligation to the public with the news. So, like, maybe, I don't know. Like, there's a moral obligation. I don't know. Not that this Pixar article is necessarily, but I find it to be disingenuous. Anyway, so basically, everyone's been talking about this with Pixar. That Pixar announced they can't be as original. They need to be more audience pleasing, mass appeal driven, and all that stuff. I find that to be depressing, and the big kind of thing throughout this article was Buzz Lightyear, or Lightyear, and the failure of Lightyear. And I think they, for some reason, I don't know why they thought Lightyear, because Lightyear's not a bad movie, it's just not a follow-up to Lightyear, and they should have realized it. And I think of the movies they put on there, on Disney Plus, like Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, I think it would have been, I think those would have gone over better than stupid, like, Lightyear, which is, like, again, not a bad movie. My kids wanted to watch it since. I'm like, it's not bad. It's just, like, not the Buzz Lightyear movie that you think you're making. It's just a very odd thing. But the one thing the one thing that's funny about this is when they mention John Lasseter, they mention him as the director of Bug's Life, which I'm like, I mean, there's one. I thought that was funny. They do. Yeah, and when the other thing is they bring up this thing, and I hate this about the thing with the Disney stuff, and when they put those things on Disney Plus, is they do not mention that, you know, I have kids, I have a family. They don't mention that, like, we were all scared to take our kids to theaters because of the pandemic. They're always like, oh, it stinks that Disney made the decision. I was like, I thought it was a good decision because we couldn't go to theaters then because we were scared of, like, variants of COVID, and we've all taken off too much time at work, and we're not going to, like, get everybody sick again so we can see Turning Red and stuff. And, like, that never comes up in these articles and always fucking bugs me. But, and they mentioned that the Brain Trust doesn't have Lee Ulrich and Brad Bird since 2019. They mentioned that Lasseter's gone quite a few times. But I think the mass appeal thing in the sequels and spin-offs seems to be something they're really pushing, and not to go as darker. And they use Lightyear as an example. It seems like anything, well, not that Lightyear was super dark, I guess it's a little darker than most. And they do bring up the whole thing with the gay stuff in, like, the one gay kiss and stuff, and how they lost distributors. But I think the mass appeal, and or what did they bring up? They brought up with Inside Out 2, with Inside Out, not Inside Out 2. Yes, with Inside Out 2, they canceled certain characters' emotions like self-refuge, guilt, and jealousy, which they mentioned were taken out because they mentioned, like, 9 emotions originally, new emotions, but they cut out those specifically because they thought they were too dark, and they want these characters to fit in. I believe it was called joyful and the earnestness that the Pixar characters do. So they can't, like, it seemed like they were trying to verge on doing newer things with the kind of Pixar characters, and now they will not. And they specifically mentioned Lightyear, which I thought was interesting. It feels like Lightyear, they're very butthurt about that. But Nathaniel Foga says, reminds me of how I found every Mac Tonight toy in bins of Associated Fast Food toys from a booth at a con I attended. Really great find for me. Cool. I had some of those guys. That's cool. Cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. But um, yeah, I don't. But someone mentioned they literally have a character named Anxiety. Yes, they do. So like, why is this such a big deal? Um, I think it's like first off, they mentioned when Lightyear happened that Iger and the other executives came over to really reassess things. But it sounds to me like they really pushed like, let's get Incredibles 3 going. Let's somebody lose Nemo again. I am surprised Wall-E isn't brought up at all. I'm also curious though. Are they bring up asking Andrew Stanton? Are they asking Brad Bird for these things? Yeah. Why isn't there a sequel to Wall-E? Like that's the one that's like I always hear that one brought up. So I don't really. I think the biggest problem with Pixar, and this is a problem with any auteur studio, is that once you run out of the auteurs and everyone's talking about, you had the Brain Trust, you had Lee Ulrich, John Lasseter, Pete Docter, Brad Bird, and Andrew Stanton, but everybody except for Stanton and Pete Docter, I think Andrew Stanton's still there for Brain Trust stuff, has moved on. And the problem with being an auteur-driven studio, which Pixar was until, after the 2010s, is that they really haven't developed other directors outside of those guys. And when you're not developing other directors, you're kind of in this weird spot. I think Ghibli ran into the same problem because they thought, oh, well, we'll start off with Miyazaki and Takahata, and then we'll have other auteurs. And the one other guy died because they worked him too hard. And then the other guy is Goro, who Miyazaki hates forever and all time. So, puts banana peels right outside of his bed so he can fall over and laugh at him, and then tell him he didn't fall so good. Why are his character design so bad? But that's what I imagine their life is like. I don't know. But it is hard. I think running an auteur studio, cool idea, but when you start going forward, you have to have a line of succession, or you should just stop the studio. And Pixar can't stop the studio, but at the same point, they're not really developing. Is there anyone of the 2010s who's up there with the Brain Trust in terms of even us knowing about them? And I don't think there really is. It seems like they're trying to develop people, and the director of Turning Red is being brought into the Brain Trust, which I think is smart. I think the director of Luca should be as well. I think they should be allowed to make original stuff at least. They can be the new auteurs, but they're just starting to develop these people. And I just think it's what the fuck are you doing? Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton, all those guys, got to build up, but it's it feels like you just, this just happened in the 2020s. This was a problem since Lee Ulrich made Toy Story 3, and you started going to Brenda Chapman, and obviously you fucked that up, and all the other stuff, it's just very... someone wrote, Goro is trying his best. That's nice. Anandbox64 says, audiences deserve mediocrity, guys. I would love it if they said that in that meeting. Cheers to you, Anandbox64. That's cool. But do I think this is bad for Pixar? Yes. But I also think Pixar commenting on, and we'll get into this a little bit in the box office thing, which I will talk about a little bit, is that Pixar does have a strong brand. You saw that with Elemental, because I know so many families who never go to the movies, but they saw Elemental. And I know a lot of families who are going to go see Inside Out too. So Pixar does have, people are like, Pixar's not the prestige brand. They still are, because there are certain families who will not see an Illumination, will not see a DreamWorks, but they will still apply Pixar. They still have a brand, but they need to build it up in a certain way. I don't think the director of Elemental's there, Javier Portello. I don't think they're there. Maybe they will be one day. I don't know how Disney feels about it. But I think the other thing with Pixar is when Pixar started, and for a long time, not only were they good at story, but they were cutting edge. And last year, we had Spider-Verse. I'm sorry, Elemental next to Spider-Verse looks like yesterday's fucking news. There's just no... you do a theatrical experience as alive as the Spider-Verse, and then you watch Elemental, and Elemental has interesting character design. I will give it that, but it is not Spider-Verse. It is not cutting-edge animation. It's not doing anything different and new. And I do think Pixar's also having a problem with that. So, I think it is really sad that, Iger's doing what he does. He's let's do proven shit, and maybe you can make original stuff. But a lot of even movie analysts have brought up that both Disney and Pixar, it stinks that they have to rely on sequels because they used to be like the best way to get original stories out. So we'll see. I hope they're able to break out from this. I hope I hope they have some hits that are original. I'm curious about Inside Out 2, but we'll see what the future is because I don't think it. I don't know. Don't feel great right now. It doesn't feel like they're going to be able to do anything too different anyway. So even if they were thinking they could, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, so the Incredibles 3 thing and the scriptless guy you brought up, I think this lady, the lady who is the head of the vice president of Pixar, senior vice president, sorry, asked her son, because she asked her kid stuff, about Incredibles 3. And her son said it was a money grab, and she responded with, fuck. I mean, I think Incredibles 2 wasn't very good. But I also think, like, from a lot of these franchises, I would just like to see the family go on an adventure. If you just have a solid adventure thing, but instead it's like, what was the Screen Slayer? Like, what the fuck? That was awful. Like, just make, like, I don't know. You know what would be cool is if they took the iconography from the Fantastic Four and made an Incredibles movie. Because I think what worked about the first Incredibles is it's basically like a family movie of Watchmen. Make a family movie of the Galactus Silver Surfer, or going into a different dimension or something like that. Like, do something really wild. Actually, you could do that with the Pixar thing. Do that with the Incredibles. Like, make a Spider-Verse answer. Like, I would be interested in see them going through different dimensions, or have the baby grow up, and the baby can go in different dimensions. Everyone can be older, because they have older sounding voices. I'm sorry, you can hear people's voices. Anyway, are you starting to miss Bob Chapek? Are you starting to miss Bob Chapek? No, never. I mean, Bob Chapek wasn't better, although he did like the Muppets, and he did give us the Muppet Show on Disney Plus. So, cheers to Bob Chapek. Bob Iger does not like the Muppets, because he fucking sucks as a person. Anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. Cheers to you. Okay. The kids still watch The Incredibles, though. I think The Incredibles 3 would do good. I don't think it's going to do as well, because I don't think the anticipation is really there. I think everyone's sort of like, oh, okay, cool, I guess there's another one. I guess I'll watch it. Yippee. Like, they should have made Incredibles 2 in, like, 2014, not 20... whatever the fuck. Anyway, it does stink about the Lightyear thing. I don't know. Just, it really hurt them. And although I do remember the weird sandwiches they have, where it's, like, meat and the bread's in the middle. That's so odd. And, so there is a rumor going around that's been reported by some fairly good reporters saying that Walt Disney Animation has been thinking about a new Disney princess, and that Disney princess will be from India. I'm assuming this is partly because Disney is pro-diversity, but also because India has a huge movie-going market, and if you were to do that, you could do a huge international play. And America wouldn't honestly matter if you were able to thrive in that market. Like, you honestly wouldn't even need America. I think it is, if Disney's looking at new revenue streams, which they definitely are, it is honestly the smartest move they could make right now. If they made a really good movie with a princess from India, they could seriously do very well for themselves. So if they're smart about it and have a revenue stream in a different country, and then they could open like Disney World somewhere in India. Unless they have one of those. I don't really keep track of that shit, so whatever. But I can see the potential. We'll see what happens there. All right, so 2 trailers. This is sort of the trailer section. You know what? I didn't watch one of them. I thought I was going to watch it, and now I'm like, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the Maxine trailer, but I'll tell you this. When I do, Maxine comes out, I plan to review Pearl, so that's cool. Anyway, the Aaron... my head, I'm like, I will do that. I didn't. Alien Romulus trailer. It looks really cool. I think the one thing the Alien movies sort of lose is they become less horror films, and like the original is considered like a haunted house in space. The rest of them become like, because of Aliens, which James Cameron did a great job with Aliens, but I think everybody learned the wrong lessons and we're doing a different thing and stuff. And I think what would probably been more what's interesting about this is this looks like a horror movie. And Alien is a horror movie. It should feel that way. And this feels that way. I'm very excited for Alien Romulus. It does feel like going back to the original Alien. So I'm excited there. All right, so the box office. Again, it is very bad. There's no real question about that. There was an article on Hollywood Reporter today, actually, about how bad it's gotten, which is very bad. It's not good at all. In fact, so the top 10 made I think around 60 million, which is pretty bad because like a year ago is when Spider-Verse came out and made like over 100 million. So it's pretty pathetic. Although we had some bright spots like In a Violent Nature, which I would like to see, got to open in almost 1,500 theaters and got to open in the top 10, which is something IFC Films never does. A film from Crunchyroll, the Haiku, the Dumpster Battle, opened in 7th. That's kind of neat. But the highest grossing movie in the summer, which last year we had $100 million openings, or Little Mermaid opened big. Garfield in its second week is at 14 million, and then Furiosa has 10 million, and then If has 10 million. If is holding better than people thought, and I have heard there's sort of like a growing interest in that movie. So we'll see, but this is granted both a summer where we had a strike, we're having a World's Cup, we're still feeling the effects of COVID. There's so many things hurting this summer that it's like, holy shit. We are seeing things like the Fall Guys holding on better and stuff like that. But the last time the top 10 in the summer was this low at 60 million was, I don't know if you guys know this, was the weekend before The Phantom Menace. Yes, in May 31st to June 2nd, 2024 is the same as May 14th to 16th, 1999, when The Mummy was number one with 24 million, which is bigger than Garfield. Holy shit. I didn't figure that out until just now. That's really bad. Oh my god. Oh man. The Mummy is doing so much better. And it was in more theaters. Is that true? Okay, that's not true. It's not in more theaters. But it actually held worse, but still made more money. So things are better in the 90s. Very much true. Also, but what's Black Mask opened at 4th in 99? What's that? Oh, with Jet Li. Okay, yeah, Jet Li movie opened in 99. Midsummer Night's Dream. Trippin'. What's Trippin'? Let's just look at what movies are in 99. Oh, this is a movie. This is the movie that opened. Sorry. So, hey, this is my stream. This is what we do. It was 7th place in the summer of 1999. That's comparable to me. Trippin'. It is about the only effort high school student Greg Reed exerts, is pursuing the beautiful and unattainable Cindy Hawkins. But when he realizes that the way to win Cindy's heart is through academics, Greg starts hitting the books. They must be tripping that they thought I would ever want to see that. That sounds like the worst fucking movie. Are you serious? He just studies? Why? What kind of conflict is that? That sounds... You're there... What? The whole thing is that he gets good at school? Like, can he do a con? Is the con he learns things? What? Disappointing. I wouldn't have seen this at the time because it made school look good. And as we established before, I was not for that. Also, Tea with Mussolini, which opened in 10th, which was, wasn't that Zeffirelli? All right, so in keeping with the tradition that I look at I know this is everyone's favorite. Wow, She's All That was still 19th at the time. And Doug's first movie was 26. Doug's first movie made $200,000 in that. Okay, I'm going to look at the lowest grossing movie in the weekend of 99, and then I'll look at the lowest grossing movie. Man, there's like a lot of movies in here that would play for a while. It feels like we had a Oh man, get a healthier box office. The goddess he learns things. I wish that would be true. Okay, speaking of, in the bottom of the box office in 1999, it's actually kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie here. At number 61 is actually Bug's Life with 16,000. Man, they did have a healthier box office there. But at the last one, I don't know if people remember this, is the Underground Comedy Movie, which made $856. I wonder what the bottom one is here. Oh man, Robot Dreams. Is that even play? I need to figure that out. Okay. Oh, this is depressing. Okay, so not only in 1999 do we go down to 67 at a film, the bottom of the box office is 856. This is how you know things are bad. The last movie is doing worse. We have 53 movies, and the bottom movie made $247. So if the Underground Comedy Movie opened now, it would actually do better than the Late Night with the Devil is currently doing. Wow, this is... So what I'm saying is the Underground Comedy Movie in its first week would have done better than... How many weeks is Late Night for the Devil? How many weeks ago was that? In its 6th week. No, 11th week? Really? Oh, okay. So Cabrini, which is 247, is okay. Here we go. After witnessing disease and poverty in the slums of New York, Italian immigrant Francesca Cabrini embarks on a daring journey to persuade the hostile mayor to provide housing and health care for hundreds of orphan children. That sounds better than Trippin', in all honesty, but sounds just as much fun. So I wonder why people aren't seeing movies with amazing things like... You know what? I blame Trippin'. It's probably Trippin's fault that Hollywood fell apart, because all his con is learning. I mean, he bettered himself, but he didn't better me. Fucking idiot. Anyway, Cabrini apparently did better overseas. Rushmore was still in theaters in 99. And The Mod Squad. Wow. All the things in here are like movies, like notable things you'd heard of. It's actually kind of interesting to go through the box office of 99. I should just list off things. Cookie's Fortune was still doing well. Robert Altman. And The King and I. And Everest. Wow. And Baby Geniuses. But man, Doug's first movie would have been doing better. And Idle Hands. All right, I should stop doing this. Sorry, I'm just listing things off. This is not fun for anyone. Prince of Egypt was 43rd. All right, sorry. I just wanted to do that. One thing that is notable, I think, because we have a lot of family stuff, is I think one thing that's going to help these family films, and which does help them in the summer, and which is a bigger thing, is and it was a thing before, by the way, the pandemic, is drive-ins. A lot of family films play well in drive-ins because families, guess what, go to drive-ins. So a lot of times they will play R-rated stuff, but they almost always have family stuff on the weekends. So family films very much have a place. So like things like If and Garfield will be able to play throughout the entire summer because of that. So it's actually more important they have them. So things like Inside Out 2 getting that 100-day thing guarantee works because it can play in drive-ins up until the fall. Same with Despicable Me 4, same with Garfield, same with If. So those films will become far more valuable as the summer goes on. But anyway, okay. That was my thing on box office. Sorry, when I heard that 99 thing, I was like, I gotta have some fun with this. So I did. So Coherence, the movie that is going to be the throwback on Friday, there is a sequel that's going to be announced. The director had been told a lot of times he should make a sequel and had been pitched things from normal people to almost everyone. If you don't know the plot of Coherence, so you can just keep up with me here, if it succeeds, Ryan. I didn't know about that. Although Hundreds of Beavers would play better in the drive-ins, but you'd have to convince people. Anyway, the plot of Coherence is a bunch of these people are basically come over. I think they have a game night or something. They're all together, and a comet goes over. Is going over where they are that night, and what happens when the comet goes over is it opens up these worlds into different realities. So when they go outside the house, they go into a different reality but they're never back into the place that they once were. So if you leave the house and go around, you'll end up going into a different reality. So when certain people leave, they go in different places and different people show back up and stuff like that. So it kind of is this weird, like, mind-bending, like, idea of reality and different dimensions and things like that. So the idea, apparently a producer emailed him, the director of Coherence, and said 2 words, and then he was down. We don't know what those 2 words are, what this concept is, but apparently he's now cool with doing a Coherence sequel. I think there's infinite possibilities. You could honestly do the movie from someone else's perspective and not cross over. Like, you just have the beginning and then have them go, and then they're in a different world, which you could totally do. So it's highly interesting. So we'll see. So the next thing, we should probably wrap up soon, so I can do Galloping Gaucho, finish the Mickey Mouse thing I said I was going to finish. But anyway, this one turns out to be a lot more interesting as I read up on it than previously thought, and maybe you guys don't know, so that's why I actually wanted to talk about it, and you're going to be confused at first. So there's a 300 prequel series. It is with a development thing with Warner Brothers Television. It is just a development thing. So a lot of people, at first you're like, oh, okay, they're making a 300 thing. But almost every reporter has brought up that Zack Snyder, who used to run the DC thing, had a huge deal. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that about Ramsey Harris. Good night, Ramsey. Who had a huge deal at Netflix, which Netflix reportedly is not going to reinvest in. Could get all these huge, massive deals, is now having a hard time even getting a commitment through a 300 show, because the prequel show is not green light or we're going to do this or something like that. It's just a development thing, and this is in all honesty being viewed by a lot of people as a real come down for him, because a lot of people believe this is the only thing he can get going at this time. And the fact that Warner Brothers won't give him just like a blank check of like, make me a 300 show. Instead, they're like, we'll pay you to develop it, I guess, and we'll see where we go. And it's with Warner Brothers Television, which they sort of like, they made things like Friends and stuff. They often sell things to other networks and other streaming services. So it sounds to almost everyone like they're going to let him do this, or at least develop it, but they're not committing to more because Netflix lost a big chunk of change on him. Like Rebel Moon, especially the part 2, didn't really go anywhere. Apparently there's a lot of merch in Kmart that didn't sell. So it's actually kind of interesting, because this is kind of one of those things you go, oh, a 300 prequel, but it more means like how much of a come down he's having, because people don't embrace him as a director. Now, I do think he like demands too much for someone who doesn't have the audience that he thinks he has. Although I will say Army of the Dead did do well. I think people are forgetting about that. But I think the Rebel Moon thing cost too much. The Warner Brothers doesn't want to fuck with him because the DC thing, I think, does actually have something to do with it, because they are the studio this is with, to be fair. So a lot of people suggest that he makes something just cheap to get himself back, but we'll see. But right now, the fact that like he's making a 300 prequel series and they're just like, here's development money, and not like, oh, Zack Snyder, 300, let's go, I think does speak to where he is in the industry, and it's not as high as he used to be. So there is a little bit more there for that. So the G.I. Joe Transformers movie with Chris Hemsworth, this is another one that people have brought up, that Chris Hemsworth's attached. We presume he's going to be a G.I. Joe, but at the same time, since he is playing Optimus's voice in the new Transformers 1, that is one thing I want to talk about. I've been watching Transformers the first season with my son, Oscar, and he's been really into it. We just watched the old 80s ones, and he gets really quiet and gets really into it. So it's kind of fun to watch this with him. There's a lot that goes on in that show. It's a cool show. But anyway, no one's sure if he is doing the voice of Optimus in this G.I. Joe Transformers thing or playing a G.I. Joe. Most people say they're not going to just get rid of Peter Cullen, but Peter Cullen is in his 80s. So there is sort of this debate, because when it was announced, they didn't have it specifically for Chris Hemsworth, like what he's playing. So that's interesting there. Also, another thing that you can read into is Mahershala Ali has signed on for the new Jurassic World, Jurassic Park film. a lot of people think this has delayed Blade even further, or he's just going to leave Blade because they've like fucked this up so much and delayed it so long. No one's really said. This is very much, I want to say, people reading into things, because Jurassic Park really is speeding towards a release date, which Blade sort of has, but not really. And I don't think the shooting dates, from what I could find, don't like overlap. So I could see him like going like, look, I just need to have a hit movie at this point because I thought I have 2 Oscars and that was going to happen. And I have no confidence that when I'm done with this, Blade will happen. So I do think it's probably more of that. But a lot of people have looked at Mahershala Ali in Jurassic World in that he will not actually be Blade anymore. That's sort of the rumor, but no one has even said like, oh, because I heard Feige said this or something like that. Nobody's heard that shit. It's just people conjecturing. Sorry, I'm kind of just want to finish up stuff. Evangeline Lilly is leaving acting. Good for her. I not liked her in any movie. She was cool in Lost when I watched it. Neat. I mean, I don't... The Wasp is gone. Oh no. Like, and Lady from the Hobbit movies. Like, has she ever been in a good movie? I guess she was in Endgame, but like... Is that anyone's favorite part? Max is doing another price hike, which stinks. The ad-free tier will go up from $15.99 to $16.99. The annual plan will go up from $149 to $169. This is kind of bullshit because a lot of these price hikes are happening not even within a year of each other. And everyone's struggling right now financially, I feel like. So I don't really understand, including yours truly. I just don't, I don't know what Max is fucking doing. In other, is this the 2 last things and then it's obits? It is. The Train to Busan director is actually going to be making his English language debut in a film called 35th Street, which is not the best street in New York, so I get it. That sounds like an action horror pick to me too. Yes, his name is Yong Sang-ho. He is directing his first major studio film, which will be 35th Street. We don't really know anything about it, but it's going to be an action horror film, which makes sense. Train to Busan is a new zombie classic, so yes. Sorry, White Lady. I like that. The other thing, this is a TCM story, is Turner Classic Movies has twice in the past little bit played the wrong movie. Believe it or not. Apparently on May 3rd, there was supposed to be a showing of the 1982 Steve Martin movie, Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid, which failed to air, leaving several minutes of just a black screen, and then finally a 1954 film, Carnival Story, played instead. And then they had the same problem on May 18th with the Barbara Stanwyck film Western, 40 Guns, which is actually pretty cool, by the way. I think that's a Sam Fuller. Anyway, they ended up playing the William Powell movie, Jewel Robbery, instead. I like that the Hollywood Reporter article calls it a William Powell gem, and it's called a jewel robbery. Nice pun there. There has been some debate about what Zaslav he could cut TCM. Apparently TCM does make money. As I've stated before, and I've known this since the 90s, is if you ever go to an old folks home, TCM is just on, and any channel like that, specifically now, is fucking money, guys. I'm sorry, like that is like the fact that you have a segment of the population, of centers, of people that live in a certain thing that have to have your channel. They're never going to get rid of that thing as long as seniors are watching old movies, which I think is forever. But it's lame that I've never heard of them screwing up in such a way, and I think that is a major deal to me, at least. That, like, Turner Classic Movies, how could that? I don't know. I found that to be a little shocking. They say it was not an executive thing. It was just like a translator, some technical problems they're having at the time. But I've never heard of that before. You know, I watch them and like the emergency broadcast system would come up, but that's not their fault. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But other TCM friends, which I don't have cable anymore or anything, have mentioned that they were very disappointed that it happened. I'm glad it's not super rare movies, because that is one thing I used to do with it. I would DVR like movies that I could never see anywhere else. and I'm kind of glad that there are movies that are like 40 Guns is fairly available, Dead Man Won't Wear Plaid is fairly available, but everything else I don't know, I'm still disappointed because some of the times that's like your chance to watch an old movie. So I all right, so the one obit I will bring up is Scott Wampler. He was on a podcast called The King Cast, which I did not really listen to, but he was formerly one of the reporters on Birth, Movies Death, or The Badass Digest. I know that because Devin Faraci was sort of the lead guy from that, everyone else associated sort of like took a big personal hit after everything with him. However, I will say I thought that was a really great team of reporters. Um, I don't want to get into the Faraci stuff right now, but it was a great team of reporters. They did do good work, and Scott Wampler was one of those guys. I think he's one of those reporters. I talk about entertainment media and stuff, and I do really like reporters and critics and stuff like that of entertainment sides. But was always really funny. I liked when he asked Ryan Johnson Rob Zombie questions, which was really funny. He'd always find a funny way to do an interview with the celebrity. He was a great Twitter account to follow. I loved his. He made if you can find it, a scroll for the Last Jedi remake. It was like it was really funny. I'm not exactly sure how he died necessarily, but he was always just a really funny guy, a really good reporter. I think we underemphasize good entertainment reporting, and he was one of the best, and it's sad to see him go. Yeah, I don't know. That was definitely a shocking thing. He wasn't necessarily my favorite or something like that, but he was one, like if I saw his name, I'd be like, oh, cool, I'll read this, And it's sad that he passed away. So I'm not sure the deal with the King Cast. I've never listened to it or if it's going to continue. I've heard it's a good podcast, but I'm sad to see him go. So yeah. All right. So I am going to take a for real break, and then we'll talk about Gallopin Gaucho. I think that's how you say it. And then we'll do questions, and then that'll be it. So we might run a little late tonight. So if you wanted to get any super chats in, please do so soon. But I'm going to wait. I got to get up Ace the Wind Rider's cool picture. Is this it? Hold on. I think I'd be better at setting this stuff up. All right, I'm going to take a second break. Make sure pee again, I guess, and then we will do Mickey Mouse's last of the public domain shorts and finish up the show. So thank you all very much for being here, as well as you're always a great audience, and it's cool to have everyone here with me. Thank you for being here, and I will see you all shortly, very shortly, because I'm just going to pee, and then we'll finish up the show, and I will be right back. Thank you, Cornbread, for checking about us saying Galloping Gaucho right. I was wondering that. So thank you. Let's move the... Okay. Wait. Hold on. That not plausible comment is amazing. Hold on. It said, when Americans are getting older, tease him as a guaranteed future growing audience. I will say that. Since I went around so I'm getting ready for Me Tunes. I was going around the antenna. I just had some time to just chill for a little bit. And I went through the TV channels, and it's basically all old stuff. I did watch, was it Beverly Hillbillies, which is like, man, Beverly Hillbillies, I don't know if this is controversial, but some of the dumbest YouTube videos are very similar to Beverly Hillbillies. I will say, the real dumb, shitty ones, I'm like, this is basically the same quality. I don't know, you know the ones that are I don't know, we're gonna test these people. I was like, it's the same intelligence level. I know, because Beverly Hillbillies is old people, and I know it wasn't Quentin Reeves likes it and stuff, but for real, All in the Family, classic, amazing, great show, talking about issues. Beverly Hillbillies, dumbest shit imaginable. It's just not even Gilligan's Island. And then they played Green Acres. I'm like, God, some of these shows are so fucking terrible. I watched this a lot as a kid because I would just watch endless TV, but some of that was this is, no wonder people thought television would rot your brains, because wow. I don't hate Mr. Beast, but he does basically just make Pimp My Ride editing style. Anyway, he makes MTV 2000s MTV shows. That's basically what he does. That is editing style. That's the whole thing. It's okay. Anyway, Daniel Vasquez says, I'm sorry that you saw Gone in 60 Seconds in theaters twice, but at least you didn't see Battlefield Earth twice in theaters. That matters the most. I actually have, and maybe I should dig it up somewhere. I think I saw it. Cheers to you, Daniel Vasquez. I got it from an old coworker. You know how before, well, not anymore, but back in the day, if you saw a movie before over the theater, it would have the name of the movie, but it'd be this, be the title in the font of the movie that would go over a light. And I had that one from Battlefield Earth. A friend had that, and I had that up in my work office at a previous job for a long time. And people would always think it's funny. But yeah, I think I have it in a box somewhere. I don't know, but I might have that. It was just super obscure to you guys now, because now they just have it in the scroll things. But they used to have it would basically be a light box, and they'd put it, and you'd see oh, this is where, the Fall Guy or whatever. They'd have an actual stencil thing you'd put in there. So, okay, let's talk about. Thank you for that. That was interesting, Daniel Vasquez. Hope nobody heard that. Okay. Galloping Gaucho. This is the third. Okay, so this is the second made of the Mickey Mouse shorts. I want to say that right now. The second made, but sort of the third released in the re-releases. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but it's usually considered listed third because Steamboat Willie was sort of the one that lit the world on fire. Plain Crazy was an obvious successor and really imaginative. And I think Galloping Gaucho, to most people, is the worst of the three. And I agree with them. But it's still good. It's still fun to watch. But it's not as imaginative. I'm actually surprised that it is sort of the middle of the trilogy of the first three Mickey Mouses, because it feels like they're not really as much. Everyone keeps saying, oh, thanks, Super Dusky. I guess it is Mylar. But Galloping Gaucho was released actually on 55 years before I was born. on August 2nd, 1928. That was when the silent one came out. The sound one actually came out later that same year on December 30th. But what I don't get, okay, so I don't actually get this because so the silent version went in the public domain this year, but it's the same year, 1928, as like the rest of them. So why isn't the sound one in the public domain? That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. But it was sort of the third one released. This is a parody of the Douglas Fairbanks thing called The Gaucho. Douglas Fairbanks and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. are kind of two actors. Douglas Fairbanks is an actor who's really big in the silent era, who I don't think people sort of heard of him, but I don't think most of his film portrayals have aged super well. So, or we hear about as much. But this was a major movie at the time. So yes, Family Guy parodying things goes all the way back to early cinema and stuff like that. The cartoons have always been parodying other movies. That is not new, as I've said before many times, but this is obviously the most direct one that's referencing a movie. You know, obviously Steamboat Willie references Steamboat Bill Jr., but The Gaucho was like the big hit. It would be basically like, I guess, Dune or Barbie, something like that. Be like one of the big hits if like Mickey Mouse made an Oppenheimer parody. I guess there's no comparison of Mickey Mouse, Oppenheimer, Jesus. But anyway, one thing I did find interesting. So the plot, okay, I'll say the plot is Mickey is coming on an ostrich, which the Wikipedia corrects that it is a rhea, which is a kind of ostrich found in South America, which sure, I was a little like, is that in the Gaucho? I'm just going to assume it is. Why not? I've never seen that movie. Do I plan to? Maybe I should. Maybe I'll look that up. I don't have the time to do that, but in my head I will. Mickey meets Minnie. They pretend they've never met each other. I think the two iconic shots from this is Mickey in the windowsill with the toothpick, which I believe Douglas Fairbanks does in that. Comes down and does a dance with Minnie. Most people have seen those shots. The rest of it, no one seems to ever care about. But those two shots do look neat, so there you go. I'm sure one of them, quite possibly one or the other, will be the thumbnail of this video. But they do the dance. Then Pete comes in and steals Minnie, and Mickey chases him. And the parts I like towards the end are like Mickey unravels his tail, makes it into a rope to climb up a building, and makes his belt into sort of like a pulley conveyor thing and goes up. I think that's really cool. It will stay on the route, don't worry. I thought that was neat, but it doesn't have the imagination. Like, first off, Mickey doesn't abuse animals in this enough. So that's, I mean, come on. Is this really a classic Mickey Mouse short? And, sorry, I don't know. Sorry. It just doesn't feel as imaginative. It does feel like, I think a lot of silent shorts are, we start here, we end here, crazy shit happens. Not enough crazy shit. Like if I was high on ether, which of iWorks I'm assuming was, I would not be tripping out as much as I was with Plain Crazy and Steamboat Willie. This one just feels like not as much stuff is happening. But I did learn, this is actually interesting. So Pete, who's now, in Mickey Mouse's Playhouse, continues on forever and ever associated with Mickey Mouse, is actually older than Mickey Mouse. Apparently he was the antagonist in the Alice comedies and the Oswald shorts. So this is actually his first encounter with Mickey, since this was made before Steamboat Willie, but he predated all that. Now why, what I don't understand, why didn't Universal or other distributors sue Disney to get Pete back? Or maybe they didn't care, or maybe they didn't notice it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of interesting, but I didn't know Pete predated Mickey Mouse. So, there's not much else really to this. I think it is kind of the one that people, you watch it even before this like public domain thing. I knew people who watched the first three. That's a fairly common animation history thing. And people would always go, yeah, I don't know. The third one's like reference some movie I haven't seen. Maybe I should see The Gaucho and re-review this. Again, I probably don't have the time to do that. But I would be curious if someone has done that. Actually, that would probably be an interesting review. So if you make content and are like, That's a concept. Go make it. Please at me and let me know if you did. I'd be curious. But like honestly, the one thing I did find a couple Wikipedias is this quote from the Wikipedia. Hold on, I want to bring up the full quote, but it starts off. This is like a banger. Hold on. Okay, hold on. This is my favorite pull quote. I'm not even joking. This is the best way to end this review. There will no. Okay. I mean, that's what I keep seeing from Pete. I haven't really reviewed. Well, I haven't reviewed enough Oswald things, but this is so maybe people are leading me astray, but that's what it says. Okay, so this is from the Film Daily on January 6th, 1929. This is the quote. I don't need to read the full thing. This features Mickey Mouse, the demon hero who has his ups and downs. So, I'm sorry. Someone wrote Mickey Mouse, the demon hero. What? That sounds like the greatest anime ever. Why don't they do more with that? That's it. I don't know. None of the rest of the review is as good as this features Mickey Mouse, the demon hero. Love it. He was a bit much more of a rascal then, but a demon hero, I don't know. I think this is a fine little short. I don't think it's notable for quality. It's notable because where it is in history, and it's fun to watch because of that. It doesn't have the Iwerks animating a thing, on ones by himself. I'm sure he did. It seems like maybe he was a little tired at this point, and then got a second win to make Steamboat Willie. This doesn't feel as notable. It doesn't feel as interesting, but it does feature Mickey Mouse, the demon hero, and it is one of the first ones that really took off. So I think it has a bit of history, and that's what keeps it going. But I don't know if anything about it really does that other than the iconic shots. It's just sort of like an early Mickey Mouse short, and it's, if you're watching all of them, I guess it fits in with all of those. But it definitely doesn't feel while you're watching it or after you watch it as notable as it probably is for the rest of the history of it than it is for the actual film history that it's a part of. There we go. Sorry, I want to do the second line again. All right. I've become the Mickey Mouse, the demon hero. Why, make a Mickey Mouse anime where he's fighting demons, and he has you did what's the Kingdom of the Hearts that all the kids like. You could have him combine Mickey Mouse with the Demon Slayer. Kids like the Demon Slayer, I think. Just do it. What? Anyway. All right, I'm going to do questions. It is running late. I think we actually have because we started late. So technically 10:35, after 10:35 we're going over. So technically we haven't hit the 2-hour mark. I don't think we'll go much over that. So I'm going to put, I'm going to go to bed. Good night, folks. Hey, Austin, thank you for being here. I'm not sure if that was time for your question, sir, but I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you did well at Mario. And cheers to you, sir. You're always awesome. All right. I'm going to write. I'm going to write. Sorry. Questions below, and I am gonna actually try. I don't know if I can do it tonight, but I will do the. We'll actually do the timestamps for this episode. I'm sorry that it's always just life, man. It's nothing. Sorry about that, but this one will have timestamps. I'm determined on this. All right, so here are the Patreon questions. Jordan Bouchard said, "Are there any animal-focused films you remember enjoying from Homeward Bound to the Airbuds of yore?" I did see. I think it was Homeward Bound 2, and I remember my mom and I crying at that. So I would say that one. I would say that one. Wait, why did I just do that? Wrong. Okay. Misbehaving. All right. Nathaniel Foga, and this is actually a really interesting question. I want to give him some credit for that. Nathaniel Foga says, "Who do you think is in a better state right now, Pixar or DreamWorks?" Pixar, I still think has more money. But I think DreamWorks is in a better state because you look at Ruby Gillman, you look at the success of Trolls, which people why do people forget about so much? That's weird. And Kung Fu Panda 4. I think you got to give it to DreamWorks right now, especially with the robot, whatever the robot thing is coming out. I don't think Pixar is that risky, and as well as I do think they've had sort of quiet successes in their own right. So I'm gonna say DreamWorks actually. Cinram asks, what box office hits do you feel the most irritated about? When I was a kid, when I was younger, I've never seen Patch Adams, but it annoyed the shit out of me that it was so big. The last recent one was The Blind Side. Sound of Freedom, I am a little annoyed by just because like people paying for tickets and not seeing the movie. Like I know theaters need money, but that's stupid. Like I don't actually agree with that. I think there should be an asterisk to its box office forever. I honestly don't even want to see it if people think that's okay. It's fine if you're like buying someone a ticket and they actually went and saw it, but to my understanding that was not what was going on. So that one or Blindside would probably be, or Patch Adams. So, and John Waters hates Patch Adams. So okay, so this is why I said that about Austin. Here we go. Austin has what a great show, Jim. What a great show, Jim. As always, I'm likely asleep. See, I knew what he's doing because I woke up early today for work and get a wake-up call again tomorrow early. My question is, who should star in the Heathcliff movie? Who is better than all Garfield movies, live action and animated? And what should the plot be? Also, vote for Tom Thumb for the movie review vote. # Tom Sweep. I actually think, look, I know everyone goes like, make it an A24 thing, but hear me out. I didn't see that Ari Aster movie, the one with Joaquin Phoenix, I forget. Get him to do Heathcliff. I want him to be Heathcliff. I want Ari Aster to direct Heathcliff, and I want it to be, let's bring back Zach Galifianakis. He can be Heathcliff, directed by Ari Aster. That's the Heathcliff movie. I'm telling you, it like, in all seriousness, I think that would be the best case scenario. All right. Okay. William Ellman said, William Ellman's been into the Cat People stuff lately. How would you rank the Cat People films? The Cat People, 1942. The Curse of the Cat People, 1944. The Seventh Victim, 1942. And Cat People, 1982. Cat People, 1982, I'm not going to rank just because I saw it. I was sort of like super against it because I do really like Cat People a lot, actually. And I was like, fuck this movie a lot. And so when I watched it, I felt like my arms were crossed the whole time. And I know people have reassessed it, and I kind of do want to rewatch that at some point. So I'm going to I'd probably rank it last. So I'll just say it doesn't count in my ranking because it's not fair to it. But I would go Cat People 42, Seventh Victim, Curse of the Cat People. I know people say I should rewatch Curse of the Cat People, but I love Cat People a lot. It's great. It has the magnificent Amberson stairs. Everybody loves that. That's not true. I mean, that is true. Sorry, that is true. Nobody watches it for that, but that's like a trivia. I think they use the magnificent Amberson set for Cat People. Cornbread asks, realization this week. Keep asking this before Deadpool 3 makes this tricky, but was the Disney Fox purchase worth it? Disney spent $7.1 billion right before COVID and doesn't have much to show for it. That's a good question. I actually do think I would say a billion of that is probably worth having the Simpsons streaming rights because the Simpsons does peak into the top 10 quite frequently. I think if had COVID not happened, so much would be different. I don't know. I think yes and no, but I also am like, they did have X-Men 97 recently, which I guess could have happened because they had Saban, but not fully. And I can't really think of something that's made a ton of money because of that deal, but it does buoy up Hulu and Disney Plus. So I guess you'd have to understand how much their sort of assets had made from their streaming empires, but they wouldn't have FX, so like The Bear wouldn't be considered a Disney success. They couldn't, which they use in their advertising. They couldn't use Family Guy or The Simpsons. So it'd be like, how much have they made on properties like from television advertising, through Emmys, through streaming numbers? But yeah, I don't know if that equals $7 billion yet. but COVID happened, so I guess there is like an asterisk to that. But I feel like they're probably closer than we imagined. But I don't know if there's really been a box office success that would equal to that. So actually, that brings up a good point, Cardboard. Good question. Zane Powers, would you play movies at 2 times speed so you can fit more into your schedule? No. I see people do that on Subway, and I really don't like it. To me, like, you're messing up the flow. I don't listen to podcasts that way either. I don't really get it. Anyway, Nanbox64, ever been to a roller skating rink? Like a couple times, but not that many times. I don't have a good story. Sorry. Not plausible. Would you rather visit Albuquerque or the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota? I mean, it is the biggest ball of twine, so I don't understand why you wouldn't. Panovision asks, how do you feel when people use the word cartoony when describing something? I thought that recently when watching the new Venom trailer, but there's going to be a Venom animated film by Seth Rogen. I think it's fine as long as what they're describing is actually cartoony. I do think that was sort of cartoony, so I think it's fine as long as you're saying it correctly. Sidram, weirdest director that you can think of to do Secret Wars, Werner Herzog, 100%. He would probably make the most interesting one. Also, shout out to Sidram. He was very understanding this week for something. I just want to give a shout out to him. You should check out his channel. I don't remember what the last video was, but you should subscribe. Zane Powers, thoughts on the new Smiling Friends episode? That's true. I did not talk about it. With the dog face stuff, I like that episode. It's like dog face, and what are they? Oh, were they speaking Spanish with the? I like that one. That one was a crazy one. I guess I will do a review of the whole season. That was with the brother and stuff. I do feel that because I do feel like sometimes family members, if you do anything that's creative and stuff, that's sort of the vibe. But I did find that that was a good episode. Man, Smiling Friends is just like a consistently great show. Super Dusky, Free Guy versus Fall Guy. I'm gonna say Fall Guy, but because Free Guy, I don't know. I don't know. Ace Winrider, do you ever talk to your wife or family about your streams? How do they react? My wife knows because we live here and stuff. I don't know. They're kind of like whatever about them, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. Zane Powers, favorite acting role of the guy in Home Alone 2 who was convicted of 34 felony charges. What? Which guy? Oh, fucking Tom. Jesus. That took me a minute. I was like, wait. Is it like the guy who played Oddjob in Austin Powers? Favorite acting role? I guess Sex and the City? I don't know. Sorry. I can't think of any others. Natbox64, if you ever visit Mexico, which area would you stop at? I don't know. I've never visited it. Maybe Mexico City? I don't know. I've thought about it, actually. Black Sax Winkle, what Zack Snyder movie should Kevin James remake? You know what? I bet Kevin James, Dawn of the Dead. He's in a mall. He's a mall cop. It could work. Dylan Butler, did you see the trailer for the live-action remake of Harold's Fairy Tale? Do you mean Harold and the Purple Crayon, possibly? I don't know Fairy Tale, but Harold and the Purple Crayon looks horrible. Westonator, favorite comic book story? That's easy. Demon Bear from the New Mutants. I made a whole video about it. Go watch it. It's the last defocus. Cornbread, so now that Mickey Mouse is Oppenheimer, when will we get the Cillian Murphy live-action Steamboat Willie slasher movie? I like that. Black Jack Winkle, did you ever miss a big part of a film because you had to use the bathroom? I have had to go to the bathroom. I think I missed like the end of Watch a little bit because I had to pee like really, really bad. I can usually hold it, but I don't like to tell people when I go to the bathroom in a movie because people can be super shitty about that stuff. But like, I gotta pee, so I just don't. I don't talk about it because I think people get kind of strange about that stuff. It's just like, anyway. Okay, wow, there's a lot of questions. Zane Powers, how do you feel about Wikipedia articles describing a piece of shit as controversial like Joseph Stalin or that note, are you a Pablo Escobar fan since apparently he's a mixed bag? I mean, I feel like you're looking up those people. I don't understand why there should be um, like a controversial. I mean, they're anyway. Nathaniel Fogel favorite Sean Levy film. I guess did he do what's it? Real Steel? It would probably be that or the First Night Museum. Pup says you should go as Dementus for Halloween this year. You have the beard for it. You know what? That's true. Maybe I should. Maybe get some glasses. Yeah, I could do it. Get a weird nose. Zane Powers, is it selfish of actors to retire and rob us of their performances? Yes, absolutely. They should work till they die. Nathaniel Fogel, when was the last time you had a theater all to yourself? Sadly, Furiosa was close, but not completely. Same with Ghostbusters. I can't think of a time. It would be before COVID. And I know when I saw Downloaded from 2013, the Alex Winter movie. I can't think of another time, but it has happened a couple of times. I think when I saw a Bill Plimpton movie, that happened too. Oh my God! Really, your theater? That's Sound of Rain's most important movie ever. Zane Powers, were you like me and you were able to immediately call you the real villain of Incredibles 2 as soon as the character appeared on screen? Yeah, I mean it's kind of not. God, that fucking movie, so disappointing. Cornbread. Should I never suggest segments to review since you got backlogged? Am I the blood clot of segment reviews? This is all a joke and good fun. No, I would like to do them more. It's just a time thing, and I'm embarrassed about it. Anyway, if anyone can think of a segment I have not done that I didn't list, please let me know. But no, sorry about that. The problem with the club sandwich is I want to take enough pictures of sandwiches, and I forget. And I need to just edit it and make a number of sandwiches I need to have pictures of. That's something I need to do. Zane Powers, what instance of an actor playing a real person in a biopic that looking nothing like them made you the most mad? Maybe that stupid Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs thing, even though I do not give a fuck about Steve Jobs. He's like not, I know like every white guy loves that guy and I just don't get it. Medela Butterfly, could Heathcliff meet Garfield? Crossover ideas. I guess he could. I think Heathcliff should meet 12-ounce mouse. That would make the most sense at this point. Zane Powers, thoughts on the argument that it's a good thing Disney bought Fox because someone else would have bought them anyway? I mean, I've heard that argument, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if it's a good thing, but where are we? Wait, where are we? Why is the whole East Coast so hot and humid? Atlanta was tough. I don't know. Sorry, not plausible. Did you see the trailer for the live-action remake? Oh, we did that already. How happy are you to know that Freddy got fingers on Disney Plus? It's pretty funny. Saying Foga, got any lightsabers? I did, but I haven't since I was a kid. Cornbread, I've been showing my friend Venture Brothers for the first time recently, so I wanted to ask, what's your favorite duo played by the creators? I can't remember them all. They did a bunch. I'm sorry. Cornbread does a better job. Look at Cornbread's answer. Thoughts on The Apprentice? I did watch it while I animated Cleese the fetus. And it was pretty clear he was a scam artist, even then. Question, does The Hurt Locker count as an good Evangeline Lilly movie? Is she in that? Wait, is she Jeremy Renner? Oh, shit. So does it mean Jeremy Renner retired? Or was she Jeremy Renner and then Jeremy Renner became sentient? I'm going to take that as that. I don't remember her in that movie, though. What do you think of Toonami Rewind? I think it's cool that they're doing it. Just been very busy with summer chores, you know. Okay, Cartwright. That's cool. Why are you lumping me in with every white guy? I don't love Steve Jobs. Sorry, Zane Powers. All right, I think I got everybody. Did I skip your last two questions, Cornbread? I don't think I skipped anybody's questions. Did I? I think I got everybody. Oh, you were saying, okay, sorry. You know what I screwed up? I didn't realize, Cornbread, you answered yourself. Between Quizboy and Pete, White, Monarch, and Dr. Miss Monarch. I would say Monarch and Dr. Miss Monarch. I'm going to go with that duo. Sorry, I didn't realize what you did there. Okay. Carter Wright, have you seen Celebrity Death Fest? If so, what are your thoughts? I really liked it. It was a fun show. I watched it from the beginning. I enjoyed that show quite a bit. I don't know. It's a fun, stupid show. All right. I think that is the last question. We are done. This was a good show. I want to thank you all for being here and being as cool as you all are. I want to thank everyone who gave a super chat. Black Alex Winkle, Austin, Zane Powers, Sinram, Zane Powers, Nathaniel Foga, Natbox64, Daniel Vasquez, and Austin and Zane Powers. Thank you very much. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I think I'll probably be back Wednesday or Thursday. Remember, July 6th is the 15,000 and a congratulations subscriber stream or whatever the fuck. There will be a video, like a short music sort of thing, tomorrow at around 4-ish, and Furiosa should be later that night, I think. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I don't know what that was. We're going to ignore it. But I'll see you all next time. Thank you for being as cool as you are, and subscribe if you would like to. Peace out, everybody. Have a good night.